Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently working our way through getting additional populace, and I think I've figured out at this point why we can't attack Uruguay. And we can stop damaging relations because this is not something we can fix at this problem. Or at this time, rather. But if we go into our diplomacy tab here, we only have an interest in La Plata and the Andes, and we cannot put in additional interests at this time. So for now, the only nations that we can really attack is Peru, Bolivia, and Chile, which we can't actually attack Chile. I think that's because our relations are too high. That's fine. We're not really concerned about attacking them at this moment. So we're going to tick forward and continue to build up our economy. And we're almost hitting 7 million here. We should hit that fairly soon. We're in a bit of a downturn right now, but I think we'll recover on that front. Cool. So looking at our overall population, we definitely need more population. But we just had a big bump here, and that bump is definitely more than we would have expected from annexing just these regions, right? Mendoza was already basically under our control. It must have been the remainder of Buenos Aires, plus Mendoza and Patagonia. And there was also Alto Paraguay up here, but still, we got 300k population. That's a huge increase. Absolutely wild, that increase, to be clear. And that's what's driving our primary GDP growth. Now, I do want to bring up our standard of living, and abolishing slavery will definitely do that. Nobody appears to really be opposing this too hard, and we'll see if we manage to pass it here. Only a 20% chance, so I'm not hugely shocked if that doesn't happen. We are continuing to colonize over this way in Armenian Patagonia, as well as in Argentinian Patagonia, as well as in Argentinian Araucania, we'll go with. I probably butchered that, but that's fine. So life among the lowly. Okay. Atanasio Quintana, leader of the trade unions, has written a sensational story about life on a slave plantation. Late in the afternoon of a chilly day in February, two gentlemen with chairs close together seemed to be discussing some subject with great earnestness. For convenience sake, we've said two gentlemen. One of the parties, however, once he began to speak of his plantation, did not appear to truly merit being called a gentleman. Okay, so 10% enactment chance and an abolitionist author, or plus 10% inaction chance and 2 interest group approval. We'll take the interest group approval for right now. Cool. So that seems fine, and we are now up to a 30% chance of banning slavery. So this is going to not, I think, cause that many issues to our economy, because if we look at our overall population here, as far as our number of actual slaves go, our number of slaves is only 1%, right? So I don't think that's going to have that big of a price shock to our economy if they're suddenly paid wages. I think it'll be fine. We should be able to absorb that. We have such a small population of slaves as it is. I'm not concerned. So we're going to let that go and continue our projected pop growth of 0.52%. I would really like to bring that number up a decent chunk, but it is what it is. We're working on these coal mines for the moment, and all we're really going to be getting out of that is... Yeah, we've got all this turmoil going on. That's all understood. All we're really going to be getting out of this is economy of scale upgrades. That said, we could probably expand our sulfur mine, but I don't think that's strictly necessary. Getting additional explosives would be really good, and I want to check in on the status of... Where did we build that? The chemical plant, over here. That's currently a level 2 chemical plant. And that is primarily sulfur that needs. Okay, let's go ahead and bump up a sulfur mine here. There we go, and I'm going to place that one here. There we go, we'll get that going immediately. And this coal mine is already underway, but it'll be a while before that's done. 20 weeks. That's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. This seems to be reasonably okay. We'll get that sulfur mine done. That will reduce the price of explosives, which will be good for us. That will overall reduce the price of largely everything across the board. So that'll be good. Our tooling workshops are struggling a bit at the moment, and that's reasonably fine. And we're just continuing to colonize over here. 1.32 million now. I like it. And we have an input goods shortage of sulfur. Well, we're definitely working on that. We also have an input goods shortage of steel right now, and let's take a look at our steel mill. Okay. Well, that would explain it. We just need people here. We should hire in here at the end of this week. And indeed we did. Cool. So that's the primary issue there. We're just oscillating there. Because we're having a difficult time getting all of these jobs filled. And that's to be expected. We very easily absorbed those 300,000. That's for sure. And we need more. So instead of expanding our construction further as we solidify our economy, what I'm leaning towards doing right now is actually expanding our barracks. So that hopefully we can think about attacking Chile. That would be the plan. Of course, we need to go after these guys, and we'll get those done eventually. Oh, the colonizations are both happening down here now. That's interesting. I'm fine with that, though. Cool. Yeah, it should be completely okay. So we're at plus 2k right now. Slavery banned has attracted new supporters, increasing enactment success by 15%. So we're now up to a 47% chance on enacting that. Things are starting to look good on that front. We could theoretically attack Paraguay, but they are, I mean, they're an army power projection of 90. If we look at our own is 8. Now, we can bring that up quite a lot. But we're going to have to increase our military strength if we really want to expand here. We have a pretty strong basis to expand from at this point, and we're going to start strongly considering doing that. I don't think we need to accelerate our construction for the time being. We just need to get more people, and annexing Chile would be a great way to do that, to be honest. Now, they have a power projection of 60. That's very interesting. We might be able to do something about that. Price of explosives drops, sulfur goes up. And coal also goes up, which isn't necessarily ideal. So our sulfur mine here is... fair enough. We're working on it. We're definitely working on it. Explosives and tools are very expensive. That's our primary issue right now, is we need to get the cost of tools down. In order to do that, driving down the cost of coal would be a big, big boon for us. So I think that's definitely what we need to do right now. We have an input goods shortage of coal, and that makes sense, to be honest. So our coal mine over here, yeah, we don't have employees here. And also, tools and explosives are very expensive. Sure, that's understood. Just checking in here to see if there are any other decent options. Reducing our number of capitalists by 850 might not be the worst idea. Sure, we'll do that. So that will help matters there, somewhat. Cool. So coal and steel are some of our primary issues at the moment. Driving down the cost of our tools will largely require driving down the cost of our basic goods, right? Our unrefined things, coal, iron, sulfur, wood, things like that. And then we can refine those into tools and steel, which also gets turned into tools. And then that can be used in other things. That's the way that the production chain overall works. And we're trying to saturate the bottom end of that construction chain. But to be honest, with our population being where it's at, it's rough. There's no doubt about that. Enacting a ban on slavery would be good for our standard of living, which I believe will increase migration attraction. Yeah, it should. It definitely should. And we're seeing decent amounts of migration. But population is dropping out here as they migrate over to, like, Buenos Aires. Defenders of continued slavery have published a wave of diatribes, treatises, and sensationalized fictional narratives, all to support their cause. The quantity, if not the quality, of these works has shaken public confidence in abolitionism. It is my duty, and it is indispensable to the public interest, that I should remove prejudices against our nation's peculiar institutions as soon as possible. To do away with an institution which has existed throughout all ages, why? The presumption of such an effort can be equaled by nothing but its folly. Minus 10% enactment chance, or we could challenge them. 75% chance of going up by 15%. I like those odds. And we got it. Cool. So that is great. We will get that banned. And we're still working on our coal mines here, increasing that throughput. But we're going to start working on our logging camps up here pretty shortly. Inpuka's shortage of coal still. And yeah, tools are expensive, pretty much exclusively because of the coal Inpuka's shortage. But we've got a coal Inpuka's shortage without employees here. And the coal mine is still negative in its costs. That is because tools are expensive and explosives are expensive. Explosives are primarily expensive because coal is expensive. Well, that's a vicious cycle. Tools are currently expensive because coal is expensive as well. Although, to be fair, dropping the price of steel, like, steel is the largest expenditure here, but coal is definitely a big part of it. I think, honestly, an import route of coal might do the trick. We need to break this cycle. Another potential option is to go into our decrees. Let's see here. Political lens decrees. And drop the social mobility in these locations. Then, we could encourage resource industries here, here, and here. And what that will end up doing is boosting our throughput by 20% in those locations. So hopefully that will help to break that cycle. That's the goal, anyway. So I'd like to see the price of coal drop here. We'll see if that ends up happening. I mean, it did drop dramatically. Excellent. And it's coming back up. But that throughput increase is helping. There's no doubt about that. That's for sure. So we'll keep that there for the time being. Oh yeah. That's definitely helping. So that should drive down the price of tools. Explosives are still a problem. So we could definitely build ourselves another chemical plant here just for the economy of scale throughput. And I think I'm going to. We'll build that in place of building these logging camps quite as quickly. I think that's fine. Yeah, that should be just fine. No problem there. So slavery will be banned eventually. The question is when. The price of sulfur drops. The price of explosives has kind of skyrocketed a bit. For the moment, that's fine. Rifling was unlocked. That's cool. And we're currently running a shortage of sulfur and coal. So if we look down over here, we've got these sulfur mines. I mean, yeah. It's pretty much just the price of tools and explosives. Okay. So other ways that we can drop the price of tools. Well, dropping the price of coal is absolutely the way to do it. So we're going to come back over here and find those coal mines. They're in here somewhere. Iron. Let's try from down here. Maybe it was hidden. Logging camps. There we go. Coal mines in Mendoza. We'll move those up to the top. Is that all we can build for coal mines in Mendoza? I did see that we could build coal mines elsewhere, but I think that's it. Let's see here. Coal mines +2 out of 40. Okay. Noted. So that's all we have queued up. But we can definitely get more coal mines in here. So we'll start to work on those coal mines as not the highest priority, but I want to move this chemical plant up like that. Something along the lines of this. Okay, now what does the chemical plant rely on? Coal, iron, and sulfur. And that makes sense. So we're definitely going to need to work on our coal mines. We know that. So, I mean, we can definitely queue up a bunch of these. Okay, I queued up all of them there. And I Control-Alt-clicked, which I was expecting to queue them up in chunks of 10 at the top, but it seems to have queued them at the bottom. That's okay, we can move them up. No problem. We'll just get those queued, and that'll be fine for now. Hopefully slavery will pass on this attempt. There is now a political movement to preserve legacy slavery with critical radicalism. Okay, so this revolution is going to be done in 10 weeks. We should have sufficient time to attempt this pass, and if this banning of slavery doesn't happen, then we're probably going to have to cancel this attempt if we don't want to deal with this revolution. So let's see what we've got. And this is just the landowners. Exciting. I do want to check in on our legitimacy here. Okay. We have the industrialists in government right now. That's interesting. We have an unacceptable government, but let's see what happens here. That must have been because these guys have a revolution going, so they left the government. I'm guessing that's what happened there. We definitely didn't put them in. Okay. One more day. Ah, we didn't pass it. We have to stop working on this. It's very sad, but we have to do it. What would national supremacy give us? Honestly, that's pretty good. We'll work on enacting national supremacy in the meantime. It's low support, but it should be fine. And what can we do for our government reformations? Well, the landowners are in the political movement here, so we have to wait for this to go away. Okay, there we go. Now we might be able to put them back in. Let's exit this reform and see if this refreshes. Yeah. We can't do this because they're insurrectionary. That should update, though. Maybe on that weak tick? Let's see if that happened. So we want to go back into... Actually, we want to go into here. Yes. There we go. That's much better. Cool. So that's underway. And I would like to start queuing up some military barracks in some locations. Now, how many jobs does that actually require? 5K per level? Noted. Okay, so as far as our military barracks go, I don't think... Do we get economy of scale throughput for those? No. No, we don't. Okay, that makes sense. It would be weird if we did, to be honest. That would be really bizarre. But I just wanted to double check that. So in that case, I wouldn't mind building, say, 5 levels over here. And 5 levels here. Now, that's going to be, I think, 1,000 per level. So that shouldn't use up all of those peasants, but it'll use up some, to be sure. And once again, it queued those on the bottom, which I don't love. But we'll move those on up, and I moved some coal mines too. Let's get those separated out a bit. So we're going to get definitely... Let's see, we're doing coal mines here. This seems reasonably fine. So let's just alternate these. Barracks, coal mines. Barracks, coal mines. Barracks, and then we'll move this one up. I wish we could click and drag. Sadly, we can't. Coal mines, and then this coal mine, like that. And then we'll just do like a logging camp. That'll be fine. We'll just move these up and just keep alternating them, like this. Now, this may be overbuilding our military, but this will help matters quite a lot when we look to invade Chile, which I think is our next big diplomatic move. And building these barracks is very quick. So we'll keep an eye on how expensive that is. but I don't think it'll be too bad. Cool. So it looks like functionally, these are going to be building simultaneously. That's very interesting. Of course, we don't really have the people to expand our military too hard. But if we were to go in here now, we've got 11 regular battalions and a power projection of 8. Now, that power projection is mostly for 2 reasons. 1, our military wages are minimal. 2, our military buildings are not upgraded at all. So we're definitely going to be ramping these up, for sure. We'll need ammunition, small arms, things like that. We're not really focused on making those things right now because we're trying to build a more fundamental economy. But for the moment, this seems reasonably fine. So at the moment, I want to check in. Chile is 10 plus 10. So they can get conscript battalions. Noted. We should have 20 regular battalions plus 1 conscript by the time we're done with this. And I expect us to have better units as well. Our GDP really outstrips Chile. Although they've had good improvement recently. No doubt about that. I want to check in. They have a defensive pact with Peru, Bolivia. That's unfortunate. So that means that we would end up fighting both of them. And we definitely can't fight Peru, Bolivia. But Paraguay, we may be able to fight. We'll begin damaging reputations there and see if we can get that done. But we're building up our military a little bit here. Cool. We'll see if we get that national supremacy enacted. It would be really nice to have that radical and loyalist increase to shift around this balance a little bit. We've been basically at the same position here for a while. So that is definitely a thing. Enactment success, up by 10%. Okay, that's fine. So that is looking great for the moment. And we are going to be capping out our finances relatively soon. So that's also a bit of a concern. Paraguay is trying to improve relations with us. Okay, that's exciting. They don't want anything to do with this, it would seem. We could expel their diplomats. Done. And now we can actually conquer the state. Do we want to do this now, though? They have 15 battalions, 15 plus 2, with a power projection of 90. Ours is 12 plus 1, so we're going to have to wait for some of these constructions to finish up. Now, we could prioritize getting this done a little bit faster, and honestly, I think I'm going to. I don't think we need to spread this out the way it is. So we're just going to move all of these barracks up like that, and we're just going to hammer these out. They're going to be done very quickly this way, so I think that's fine. Yeah, that will finish them much more quickly. So that'll be good. We are going to have some shortages of ammunition and artillery and small arms. Now, we could think about constructing some industry to deal with that. So that would end up being a munitions plant, and I would want to build that in, like, Corrientes. And then that would also be an arms industry, which we would build in, say, Patagonia. So it would be something along the lines of that, and I would want to prioritize those much, much higher than they are right now. So we'll get those moved up to the top. And let's put the arms industry, like, down here after the barracks, like this. Yes, this will slow us down, but we're going to need this eventually. So that'll do. What does a munitions plant use? It consumes explosives and lead. Okay, it consumes lead. We do have lead mines available, if I recall correctly. Dye plantations, wheat farms, sulfur, iron, lead. Yes. Do we want this here? Or in Chuchui? We'll go here. Okay. So we're going to put this lead mine down, I think, below this barracks, like this. We're definitely going to need that lead. Iron and hardwood, we do produce both iron and hardwood already. So that'll be fine. Excellent. We're going to need some of this production, after all. And I don't actually mind dipping negative here pretty soon. We're nearing our maximum cash. So that is when we will look to attack Paraguay. When we've got all of this completed and we're nearing our maximum cash. According to this, that'll be 83 weeks out. I'm not sure it'll actually be quite that long. It'll be a while, I think. But we have dipped negative here. That's fine. We have an input goods shortage of coal, and paper is currently considered expensive. One thing I would like to do... Well, our construction queue is too long to auto-build. So there's no doubt about that. I want to check in on our paper mill, which, if I recall correctly, is... No, I do not recall correctly. I know we have a paper mill here somewhere. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, we could definitely expand that. Getting more coal, sure. I'm going to place that, though, down below the construction of our military assets here. So something like this. Cool. Now, to be clear, I don't expect this to fulfill all of our demands with the munition plants and the arms industries, but it'll at least get us a ways. Okay. We could actually get the lead mine going first. That's probably smarter. Something like this. Ooh, a colonial affairs institution investment. Let's definitely do that. We can't afford the 12 bureaucracy. Yes, because we are spending it on law enforcement 5. Yeah. Okay. Noted. So we would need additional government administration. And we'll queue that. This time we'll queue it again in Buenos Aires, and we'll move that down, though. That will be, I think, after the paper mills. So something like this. Yes, we have a huge construction queue. But we're going to be attacking Paraguay fairly soon. With that, though, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to attack Paraguay. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of... I completely lost my train of thought. I've done this so many times. I can get there. In the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, MLohan80, Kentogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri 8, Punching the Microphone, Unisil, Kadra, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.